So homes that are selling in the first 30 days are basically being average 1% off list price.
Yeah, about 99%. Yep.
Homes 30 to 60 days. So in that second month on market, it's already 4.75%.
And that's where we see the biggest drop. We see the biggest drop after 30 days. From that 30 to 60 days, that's where you see the biggest drop in prices.
Almost 5% from
original. So
original.
after 30 days, that's when people say, okay, obviously it's not working at the price we're at. That's where they make the biggest adjustments.
Help, I need some guidance. Help, selling and buying. Help, I need some real estate. Help.
Welcome to Albuquerque Real Estate Talk, episode 542, July 10th, 2025. Just got over the 4th of July weekend and in Independence Day weekend, whatever you want to call it. And Tracy, you and I were in Nashville for that, which was something new for us. But we're here to talk about Albuquerque real estate like we do every week for over the last 10 years. Tracy, if people want to get a hold of us to talk about real estate, how do they do that?
Sure. 505-448-8888, best number. Or you can get on our website, welcomehomeabq.com, and check it out.
Do you like how I asked you that question like I didn't know the answer to it?
I was like, can you not say 448-8888?
So
no, we're going to...
Go ahead.
I know you have all sorts of show notes, and it's going to be great. But I want to talk about Nashville for a minute.
Yeah.
I wore my Western shirt.
Yes, you did.
In honor of it. So we'd never been to Nashville. Unbelievable how that could happen, but I guess we only go to places where there's real estate conventions.
Yeah, there's been never in Nashville that we had an opportunity to go to, I guess. Yeah.
Well, they certainly have the hotels for it, and they certainly have the convention center for it, so I don't know why we haven't. But over the 4th of July, us and a couple 100,000 other people all celebrating in Nashville. It was quite a wonderful experience. But, of course, while we're there, we have to check out real estate, right? And boy, aren't we lucky to be in the Southwest, in the Albuquerque area, because the prices we were seeing in Nashville and outlying areas like Franklin, Tennessee, were really high.
Yeah, I didn't really have a sense. We do that every time we visit somewhere.
Right.
We always pull up, a Zillow app or some app and just kind of look at, okay, what does real estate cost in this area just to get a sense. And, it goes back to what I've been saying a long time is like, yes, affordability has been tough for housing and home purchasing here in New Mexico, but we're better than a lot of places.
Very much so. I have a good friend in real estate in the Nashville area, Tiffany Fikes.
Yep.
She has a great team there. If you're
Tiffany,
ever looking for real estate help in that area, we got you covered, as well as most areas of the country. We have good friends in real estate who are top realtors that know how to navigate home buyers and sellers. So if you need help outside of the metro area, we can certainly help you find the right people to help you. So Tego, it's July. I know last week we did like the first blush of June. Do you have July, like the big rundown for us?
I do, yeah. And so if you go to our website at Welcome Home ABQ, I've got it up on the screen here now. So Welcome Home ABQ, and just go to the blog. I've got my video there. I did a deep dive into the June data, the closed data, the sales data, what's going on. Of course, the thing that's always tough about that is it's backwards looking, right? These are homes that closed in June, which means they probably went under contract in April, May,
right?
In that range. But just a couple things. Closed sales is pretty much equal with last year is what we're seeing, the number of homes selling. So we're kind of right at the same pace. I did a quarterly look, and so over the second quarter of 25, there were about 2,671 homes that sold in that 3-month period, which is almost identical to last year, 2024. So the pace of sales is pretty even. The area where we saw the biggest increase in the number of sales was in that 400 to 600,000 price range, which of course isn't really a surprise. And it's not because more people are buying more expensive homes. It's just those are the homes that are available now, right?
Right.
Homes have moved up into those higher price ranges. Inventory's up. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that. It's up 25% over last year. That's the number of homes on the market at any given time. But it's still about 20% lower than the same period in 2019. I always use that as the benchmark to kind of get a sense of where we are.
like 2019 was what we would consider a fairly normal market. It was pre-pandemic when interest rates dropped so low and everything went crazy. So that comparison is we're still below.
And I posted a graphic on my Facebook yesterday that shows New Mexico is the only state in the Southwest that still is below pre-pandemic levels for the number of homes on the market versus Arizona, Texas, Colorado, Utah, Nevada, the kind of our region. So yeah, we're still short homes is, what would be considered normal. Of course, the pace of sales has slowed down quite a bit as well. And let's just hit on pricing real quick. For the June closed, we're up 2%, 2.5% in price per square foot. And that's in line with other data that I've been looking at. And so I'm going to jump over to another chart here real quick. Again, if you want to take a deep dive and look into all the data on that, you can go to our YouTube, and I've got my 12-minute video up there, digging into all this data if you really want to get nerded out on it. One last thing that just happened last week was we got a release from Freddie Mac, and Freddie Mac is, one of the big national entities that buys mortgages. So Freddie Mac, Fannie Mae, they look at the data, and what they say for our market year over year, we're up 3.38%. So say 3.4% in home price appreciation. These are for homes that were purchased in May versus May a year ago. So we're appreciating somewhere in that 2-3% range, which was ahead of national averages right now. So we're in a healthy place, at least appreciation right now. So
It's great.
that's my market update.
So, Tego, I was meeting with a home seller earlier this week, and we actually can talk about that house, too. It's a featured home of the week. But let me just mention, we were sitting there on their sofa chatting about the market and getting things set and deciding, how we're going to market and sell their home. And, of course, the question was, what's going on right now in the real estate market? And I know that you watch the market every day, and many times a day. Obsessive, yeah. Even when you're in Nashville. So anyway, tell us what's feet on the street right now. What are you seeing?
Well, I think feet on the street, that's your department. My department is the data. And there's some interesting things going on. There's some data that's somewhat negative, but a lot of the data is somewhat positive. We have a metric that tracks a number of showings. We call it foot traffic, the number of people actually looking at homes. And it's actually been pretty solid here over the last 3 weeks, where we go back to early May, it kind of fell off a cliff. So I think there was that whole tariffs thing and everybody kind of freaked out. Now things have settled down and people are starting to think, okay, we got to get back out there. So we do see some activity there. Picking up. The other forward-looking data I have looks at prices for homes that are under contract, that are in pending status. And right now we're still trending ahead of last year for price appreciation. So forward-looking over the next couple months, we're still going to see year-over-year price appreciation. I don't see anything changing that.
Okay, sounds good. I know feet on the street, we've had a lot of open houses in the last month. We did take 4th of July weekend off from open houses, but prior to that, several weekends in a row, very, very high attendance at our open houses. And I'm going to give credit to you and to Sam, our producer, who's you can't see off camera here, but all of the marketing that we do obviously helps with the amount of people showing up at our open houses. But whether the house was 400,000 or 1,650,000 like we've had very high attendance at our open houses. So there are people out looking in all price ranges.
Yeah.
But before we go to the next topic,
Yeah.
How about I talk about our featured home of the week?
Let's do it.
This house is really exceptional. It's in Corrales, the very south end. So it's, 5 minutes to Sam's Club, Best Buy, Costco, Cottonwood Mall, where they have no air conditioning,
Lowe's,
right?
Home Depot.
Lowe's, Home Depot. Oh, those are your stores.
Yeah, those are my stores, yeah.
So it's 1524 West Meadowlark in Corrales. It's $1,075,000. What you'll find there is 1.39 acres, so it's a very large property. It's gated. It has beautiful block wall with a gated entrance. And as you drive in to the left, it was stunning to me. there's a very large grassy area next to the swimming pool that had like those fountains going into it with a hot tub adjacent. And then behind that is the guest house with a very large portal, very deep, beautiful, kind of Pueblo-style property. And then the house sits up a little bit higher. And the house is an original adobe. We think it was built by Passage. We haven't been able to verify it, but I could see that the well permit was pulled by Passage. And so it's adobe with an added master suite. So it's 4 bedrooms, 3 fireplaces. It has an outdoor fireplace in the backyard, and it has fire pit in the front courtyard area. So you've got the house, the guest house, the swimming pool, outdoor living year-round, whether it's the swimming pool or the fire pits, and, oh my gosh, spectacular views to downtown, the mountains, the valley, just a beautiful Corrales property. Open house Saturday from 11 to 1.
Wow.
However,
I'm sold.
I know. I literally said I was there with a cell on the listing appointment on Monday, and I said, I could live here. Don't tell Tego, though, but because he's ready to make a change. But
No, I want to down. If we no,
Yeah.
it's downsize time, not upsize time.
yeah, I know. Guest house. And the main home has 2 owner's suites, what we used to call master bedrooms, because there was one, and then the extra was added on, a very large one with a fireplace. So it's a special property. You don't have to wait for the open house. So if you want to see it, just give us a call, 448-8888, and we'd be happy to schedule a private tour for you. So Tego,
Yes.
sell or buy?
Yeah.
Which to do first?
Yeah, let's talk about that. So this is a question that comes up for homeowners that are thinking, okay, I want to sell. I need to find another house. I need to go somewhere else because most sellers are also buyers. But the question is, should I sell first? Should I buy first? Should I try to do it all at the same time? So let's just kind of talk about the pros and cons and things that a homeowner should think about.
Sure. So when does it make sense to sell first or buy first, right? So we could, you have the little chart up
I do.
on our YouTube. So if you're watching us online, you can see it. So it may make sense to sell first if you want to avoid paying 2 mortgages at once, which, that can get costly depending on how long it takes to sell your home
Yep.
after you buy. Or you want to use your profit towards your next down payment, which is pretty typical. A lot of people need the cash out of their current home to buy that next home. Or, if homes are taking longer to sell in your area, you may want to get moved because you need to be somewhere. A lot of times it might be relocation for work or for school or for whatever reason.
And so what would be the downsides of selling first then?
Selling first.
Other than being home, well, obviously you're homeless.
Well,
Kind of.
yeah, if you're going to sell first, where are you going to stay
Right.
while you're in transit, right? So a lot of people have friends, family that they can use. We've seen people use vacation rentals, short-term rentals, VRBO, Airbnbs. There's a lot of them that will give you a special break if you do monthly versus a couple days here or there. So that's sort of making sense. For the stress of it, sometimes selling first and then buying, it's a process, right? It can be hard. There are some great loans these days that are bridge loans, right? So you could sell, maybe buy first, but actually have a bridge loan to buy versus getting the equity out of your house.
I want to highlight that because I don't think people realize that there are those programs out there that are available for folks that do want to find the house they want to buy, get it under contract, not have to do a contingency because they have this loan program that basically gives them a backstop
Right.
for the sale of their home. So yeah, there's a lot of different ways to do it. And that's always the hard thing is, okay, move to a new house, sell the other house.
Right.
And if you buy first and
Yeah.
you have to sell,
So it
what's
may
the
make
advantages?
it may make sense to buy first if you want to avoid the stress of where am I going to be in the interim, or do I need to make a contingent offer?
Or do I need to move twice?
Do I need to
or
move twice?
Put stuff in storage and yes.
Yeah, and it may make sense to buy first if you have the money towards your new down payment on your new house, or the loan program makes sense for you to buy first, or you're in cash. There are people that have investment accounts that have done very well. and they have the cash and they can wait to sell that house till after they've moved. You know, the other reason it might make sense to buy first is if if homes in your area are selling quickly, because you need to be competitive to be able to know where you're going. And some people are like, I need to know where I'm landing, right? And I'm going to take whatever I have to do to make that work. And that's where like a bridge loan could come in if needed. But overall, you know, people do this all the time. We've helped a lot of people who just, when we first talk to them, they're like, I have no idea how we're going to do this. And we help them navigate. We help them find resources and providers to put this together to make it as smooth and stress-free as possible. It's still going to be stressful.
Yeah.
Any move is, right?
Of course.
Even if you've done it. You know, we work with military people a lot, PCSing, permanent change of station, and they move every 3 years or so. And, you know, they get really good at it, but it's still hard.
It is.
You
It
know,
is.
so-
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's best if we just talk it through, you know, if you're thinking about selling and buying, even if you're buying in a different market, not in the Albuquerque area, we can help you. I just helped some folks with getting connected with my great friend in Austin to help them buy a house there because, you know, relationships matter and we do know people everywhere. So we'd be happy to help. But let's talk about should you sell or buy first and how to logistically do that.
Tricia, I want to talk about days on market versus price.
Oh, Tego, I saw you post this week, and it was really awesome. You did some deep dive on time on market for sales price, right? It's the longer on market, how does it affect the final sale price? We had a question, right, that prompted you to do this dive.
Well, it was actually another realtor in our market. He emailed me and said, "Hey, do you have any data on this? Where can you find, where can we find some data on this?" And I thought, yes, I know where I can
So
find
give
it.
us the subject
And,
of
and
what
so
it
basically
is.
the subject is how much does a home get discounted over time, as it's on the market?
So
And there's a clear correlation between how long it's on the market and how much the home gets discounted before it sells.
So you have a chart pulled up, and I know that you posted this on Facebook, and the realtor community went crazy thanking you for putting this out there because it's really what we innately know as realtors, that the longer your home sits on the market, the more price reductions you have from the original list price. So you did a deep dive, and this chart's pretty telling.
Yeah, and one thing I want to point out is this is not just because of the market we're in right now, which is a little bit slower than we've seen. This is throughout time in real estate. The longer the home is on the market, the more price reductions it's going to have. There's just no doubt about it. Now, the question is it causation or correlation?
Right.
It's definitely not causation. It could be part of it. It could be part of the causation, but it's more of a symptom of the problem versus the problem.
Yeah.
The time on market. So
So-
go ahead.
So from me not having done all the deep dive and putting all this charting together, which is great because it's so easy to read and see, it's clear that 4 months, when I went to the end and I said, okay, 4 months on market, basically 121 days, I was thinking, how far out is it going to go before we see a huge price reduction? 4 months is not that long, and we're seeing the price reduction on average significantly down, almost 9%.
Yeah, it's
from
about
original.
8.5%. After 120 days, the homes, and these are just, and this is an important point. These are just the homes that sold.
Right.
These are the homes that actually closed. These are not the homes that went unsold too.
Right.
There's that as well.
So dollar-wise, on the average, I assume that's our average sales price, $429.
Yeah, I took 429 just because that was our average sale price here. And I looked at the last 6 months of sales in our area.
So homes that are selling in the first 30 days are basically being average 1% off list price.
Yeah, about 99%. Yep.
Homes 30 to 60 days. So in that second month on market, it's already 4.75%.
And that's where we see the biggest drop. We see the biggest drop after 30 days. From that 30 to 60 days, that's where you see the biggest drop in prices.
Almost 5% from
So
original.
after 30 days, that's when people say, okay, obviously it's not working at the price we're at. That's where they make the biggest adjustments. And then over time, it keeps getting less and less and less and less up to 4 months.
Yeah.
What I want to talk about though is why is it that homes are cheaper the longer they're on the market, right? And so what's going on? Again, like I said, it's not the causation, it's the symptom. The symptom is obviously it was overpriced for the market.
In its condition,
And
location.
the condition and the location, and maybe it didn't have good marketing. Maybe nobody even knew it was for sale, right? There's a lot of different reasons. But there's that whole thing about the sweet spot. NAR does this thing.
National Association of Realtors.
Thank you.
NAR.
That first 2 to 3 weeks is critical.
Right.
That is, if you're selling your home, that's really where you want to be targeted at, which means you have to come on the market with all the marketing collateral, the photographs, all the stuff we do, the floor plans, the
paid
walkthroughs,
marketing.
the paid marketing, the open houses. You really want to make a splash right at the beginning, because if you're trying to sell for top dollar, that's where you need to be. But overpricing can actually backfire on you.
So one of the things we hear a lot from somebody is, I'm not in a hurry. I can wait for the right buyer at this price.
That the data would say that's not a thing.
It's until you get to the right price. It's not
Correct.
like you can wait for the buyer, because the buyer isn't going to come along until you're at the right price for the home, the location, the condition, all of those things, right? And that's what we try to tell sellers is, yeah, you can wait, but you're going to wait a long time, because it's not like if you wait a long time, you're going to get your price.
I'll do one caveat to that. There's one exception to that, and that's the very unique property.
Right.
That needs a very special buyer.
Right. Like the 7-bedroom house that used to be assisted living, and it was all adapted, da-da-da-da-da.
Correct.
They want to sell it now as a residential home. That's time over. Yeah, it's going to take time to find the right person.
So I keep saying that time on market is a symptom, not the cause, but it is also a cause, because there's that perception, right? How many times have we seen a home and it says, gosh, it's been on the market for 30 days. It looks good. Why hasn't it sold? What's wrong with it? That is such a common perception out there,
Well,
right?
so working with these home sellers that I was working with earlier this week, there's a house, similar square footage, different location in Corrales, has been on the market 286 days. And I looked at the photos before I met with these clients, because I'm like, what's going on? Because, of course, I was doing research before I went to their home. And I'm going, 286 days in a good location. The photos look good. What's wrong with this house? I hadn't been in it, so I don't know. But from the photos and the description, it looked like a great house. So it made me very nervous. But obviously, time on market isn't helping that house.
Yeah, and I think one of the takeaways is, if you're just determined to push your list price on your home, adjust early. Because if you wait too long, you may have missed it. Zillow did a study, and they found that 62% of homes were more likely, let me rephrase that. Homes that required a price cut were 62% more likely to be on the market for over 60 days. So it's, again, it's that time on market thing. Again,
Right.
We're not in 2021 where everything sold in a week.
Right, right.
we're just past that. And there's been a lot of research done on this. This is not us, just some realtors in Albuquerque talking. There's been academic research on this. If you miss the mark, if you overprice your home, in the end, many times you're going to end up netting less than if you would have just priced it right at the beginning.
And the chart you had up clearly tells us that, right?
Yeah.
Clearly. So, Tego, we've got a lot of open houses this weekend. We have a lot of new homes that have hit the market. So we encourage you to give us a call. Let us know how we can help you.
I've got one headline I want to talk about. I didn't even.
Has to be quick.
Okay, that's fine. Bill Pulte, who is the director of FHFA, which is the Federal Housing Finance Authority, which oversees Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, which buy 60% of all the mortgages in the country.
Getting deep here.
He posted something the other day that FHFA mortgages are now going to allow rent to be counted as a credit
As an income.
as a credit. No, as credit worthiness. But believe it or
Oh,
not,
creditworthiness.
that's the thing that's funny is, say you've been renting for 10 years, pay on time, perfect, but you don't have credit cards, you don't have a mortgage, obviously, you don't have a car loan, you don't have any other consumer credit. So they call it a thin file. You have a thin file. So like if you look at your FICO score, it's going to show like
You don't have
no
credit.
or little credit.
So you're not creditworthy.
But you've been making solid rent payments for 10 years. That person is, believe it or not, it's difficult for them to qualify for a mortgage. Well, what they're doing is rolling out the option to use a different type of credit scoring system other than FICO. And details are still murky, but basically what they're saying is they're going to use this other credit scoring system that does take into account your rent.
Perfect.
And
Great
so
information.
that's good news. A lot more to shake out. There's a lot of noise in the mortgage industry right now trying to figure out what this all means, but it is good news for people down the road that want to be home buyers. So
Thanks for that. Okay, there we go. Another podcast in the books, Tego. If you need to reach us, when you do need to reach us, we hope you do. Give us a ring, 505-448-8888 or welcomehomeabq.com. Until next time, thanks for tuning in.
take care. Thanks for watching the video all the way to the end. We appreciate you. And please click subscribe. We'll keep you updated on what's going on with real estate in the Albuquerque area and New Mexico, and of course, across the entire country. Have a great one.